So I have this tele right here. This is a Harley Benton TE-20. It's a ridiculously affordable guitar. It costs like 90 bucks at Thomann, something like that, 90 euros at Thomann. Yet I enjoy playing it quite a lot. It gets a lot of use here in my home studio because, well, it feels great to play and it stays in tune, so what more do you want? And what I decided to do is to throw in a hotrail in the bridge position of this Telecaster. Now, why did I do that? Well, for all the obvious reasons. Let me just leave it right here. I play with a lot of gain, and what I wanted was something with a bit less noise than the single coil and a bit more mid-range punch and a bit less of that top-end sizzle. And the DiMazio chopper was a pretty easy choice for me. It's affordable, it looks hella cool, and so I bought it. The install process was pretty simple. Remove the old pickup, put in the new one in the same place, and that's it. Now, as I've stated before in this channel, I am very bad at working on guitars, so I managed to fuck even this up. See, DiMazio's use a 4-conductor method, and what I had to do for this particular install was twist the two ground wires together and tape them off. And I did that, but what I forgot to do was to strip the wires, so they actually make a connection when you twist them together. And after that I proceeded to bash my head against the wall for like 2 hours, wondering why it doesn't work, but I finally figured it out. Regardless of my stupidity, I actually think that this is a pretty perfect first mod for somebody that wants to start working on their own guitars. It's literally just screwing a couple things on and off and like desoldering and then soldering two connections, so yeah, the install should be pretty simple if you have more than 5 brain cells. But before installing the pickup, I recorded 3 things with the old stock single coil. I recorded a clean riff, I recorded a mid-gain crunchy rock riff, and I recorded a high gain riff. I did not do a full mix test, more on why in a future video. And after going through the install process, I recorded the exact same 3 riffs again, so we can shoot them out. I'll let you hear the results before giving you my personal opinion. This is not a scientific test, by the way, mainly because the strings that I had on the guitar before swapping the pickup were pretty dead and they also were a different brand. I noticed that while looking at the footage, the strings that I had beforehand have these like very colorful ball pins, so I'm guessing they're the DiMazios. And now I put on a set of Ernie balls. Again, they're both 8s, but first of all, they're different brands. And second of all, as I said, the ones that I recorded the first batch of riffs with were pretty dead. So yeah, definitely not an end-all be-all scientific test. Anyway, here's what I got. Well. I think there's a lot to unpack here, so let's start going one by one. On the DIs of the cleans, I can actually hear a lot of noise reduction, which is great. That's what I expected. That's why I bought it, so pretty happy with that result. There was also a slight tone change. The chopper sounds a bit more mid-rangey and a bit rounder than the single coil, which is, again, exactly what I'd expect. The differences were very slight, but keep in mind, this particular riff was recorded on the middle position of the tele, so with both pickups engaged. So it makes sense that these differences were way more prominent in the DI of the crunch riff. I think that here the difference between the two pickups was most prominent. Again, as expected, the single coil was a bit harsher, a bit more top-endy, while the chopper sounded thicker and had a bit more mid-range punch. All of that, as well as, again, the noise reduction, we could also hear when we turned the amp sim on, at least in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the high gain example, I think that here, more than anything, we can hear the spunkiness of the new strings. Because I downpicked the riff pretty hard, I think that the difference between the bright attackiness of the new strings and the rounder, more dead sound of the, well, dead strings really overshadows the difference between the two pickups. And when we turn the amp sim on, the differences are, well, very small, like they're so tiny. Yes, if you listen very closely, you can hear the noisy harshness of a single coil and the mid-rangey punch of the chopper, but it's so minute, like so small of a difference. All of that gain just completely destroys any sort of detail, so it's very hard to hear the difference. These are my thoughts on this test. If you want to hear the unfucked with by YouTube versions of the different sound clips, I'll have that available for free down in the description. I would actually love to hear your opinion. Like, this is not just to boost engagement or whatever. I listened to this example so many times that I'm actually not sure if my ears are just deceiving me at this point. So drop a comment, tell me what you think. So the big question, should you bother buying a hotrail or the DiMazio chopper T specifically? The DiMazio chopper. They make it in like a T and non-T version. The T is like made for tele bridges, but they offer the exact same pickup without the plate, so you can mount it in like the neck position or like a strat or whatever. But yeah, should you buy one? Should you bother buying one, spending money on it? I'm really on the fence here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you why I think that you should buy it or why I think that you shouldn't, and you make up your mind. Let's start with the positives. As I said, it's affordable. It costs 109 euros at Thomann and 109 USD at Sweetwater. It does look very cool. I think that my Harley Benton looks at least twice as cool as it did before with the stock single coil. It does cut down on the noise. It's a humbucker, like, duh. It's a perfect first mod if you want to get into that, if you want to get into modding your guitars. And it does have a bit more mid-range punch and a bit of a more rounder sound than the average single coil. If that is enough reasons for you, definitely by all means go ahead and buy a DiMazio chopper. But if you're looking for noticeable or, let's be honest, any significant difference in tone when it comes to high gain tones, I repeat here, high gain tones, metal tones, when it comes to that, don't waste money on this. If you have an old Strat or Tele kicking around, maybe your first guitar, and the pickups on that are either unbearably noisy or non-functional at all, well, the Chopper T is a perfect pickup for you, especially if you want to have some fun with a soldering iron. But if you want to improve or change at all your high gain tones, definitely look elsewhere. I don't regret buying mine, not only because of all the positives I just listed, but also because now I can use this guitar for high gain demos on this channel without worrying about comments like,
"Hey, you're using a single coil."
No, it's not a single coil. This is a hotrail. I can do high gain videos with the Tele now. If you have any thoughts on the test that I did on pickups, do they matter, do they not? Do you own any hotrails? Do you think that different hotrails sound different? Do you think that hotrails sound different than single coils? Did you notice a difference? Please, any and all thoughts, leave them down in the comments. I want this channel to become a space where we can all share different tips, tricks, experiences, opinions, hot takes, whatever it is, surrounding guitar playing and making rock and metal music at home studio stuff, recording, you know, all of that. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you'd be doing me a huge favor if you click the subscribe button. And yeah, that's it. Thanks. Like, subscribe, you know, all the YouTube stuff. Do the YouTube stuff. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.